All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So it's good to have all you here with us. It's good to have all you with us over the internet. Today we're going to have a lecture talking about angels and demons. And no, it's not about Dan Brown's book. It's something a little bit different. And I'm going to have a lecture by our friend Isabella. But as always, before we, and I just dropped something. Isabella, I hope this is going to work when you need for your lecture. I'm going to put it back in, it's the, let me see if you can figure out. Yeah, it's all good. Hopefully it works. It's blinking, so it works. Okay. So as I was saying, let's do our initial reading and with our initial prayer before we start our lecture, okay? Reserve the right to remain indifferent to provocations of any kind. In an era of senselessness like this one, evil is at liberty and seduces the unwise. Here is the other's anger that hurts you. There, it is unbridlable sex that unnerves you. Over there is the ambition that sparks your interest. Vice is nearby, capturing victims, disturbing entertainment in all around you. Everywhere, the victory of crime and the dissolution of good customs multiply their tentacles like a cruel, dominating octopus. Look on these conditions as a path of poisonous thistles with green, pleasant glass hides on the ground. Do not let you step on them and avoid accidents of damaging effect. So let us all now connect here with God, our Creator, with the Jesus, our Master, with the good benefactors here from our Sunday lectures. Let's ask them to enlighten us and guide us. Help us to open our minds and our hearts to the lecture of today, so we can learn a little bit more from the lessons that the good spirits brought to us through Kardec. And so be it. Isabella, it's all yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for coming here. I know it's not looking good outside, so I know you made an effort to be here. Appreciate that. And the theme today is angels and demons. And I'm going to talk about how it's conceived in the common, how people usually think about angels and demons and how Spiritism thinks about them. And I think these images reflects well. It's the same person, let's say, and one face, one part, half of it is a demon, half of it is an angel. Just saying that the same soul could go from a demon to an angel. Not the other way around, I'll explain why, but it's just saying that they are not creatures that being created perfect as an angel or just created for evil and they were born that way. So it's not the case. Okay. So I think something that we has to be explained in the beginning. Sorry. To start, just thinking about angels in the gospel, because it's very popular in the gospel in many religions, angels. So just some ways that we have talked about angels. For example, the annunciation to Mary when the Jesus was conceived, announcement to Joseph when the angel Gabriel came to Joseph to explain what was happening. Angels were present in the birth of Jesus. And the resurrection, there was angels there as well. So we see throughout the gospel there are many passages where we see those angels. So what are those angels and how we can think about them? So the very important question is, so have some spirits been created good and others evil? So this is, a lot of people think angels are all born perfect and the demons were born evil. So, according to the Spiritism and Spirits books, God has created all spirits simple and ignorant, without knowledge. So everyone starts from ground zero. Everyone starts the same, and God has given then each one of them a mission, aiming to enlighten them and progressively leading them towards perfection through the knowledge of and the truth, to draw them near to God. So everyone starts from zero, and then from there we evolve. So spirits acquire knowledge by experiencing trials. Some already from the beginning they accept the trials, their mission, and they go straight. Not always straight, but generally straight through the path of good. And now, unfortunately, they found some more unfortunate paths, and they go to other paths that could lead them away from God. So we always start from zero, and then from there, from trials and expiations, and how we accept them could define the way that you're going. And the spirits may remain stationary, but it never regresses. So a lot of people think that, oh, if somebody is a very bad person, then they're going to go to hell and they're going to become a demon. But in reality, they could be stationary for a really long time, years, decades, centuries, but they don't go the level below their evolutionary aspect of it. So what's an angel? So I know the Spiritist definition. So souls are created simple and ignorant, without any knowledge and or awareness of good and evil, but they are capable of acquiring those skills through the trials and labor. The goal is perfection. It's for all of them. So the speed which they achieve depends on their free will and their own efforts. So a lot of some souls will go faster than others towards the goal of evolution and perfection. And there's a few levels, a few hierarchies in the spirits. So the first one is the pure spirits, the perfect. We can call them angel. So, for example, Christ will be a pure spirit, and I'll explain more what that means. The second order, they are imperfect, but their main concern is to do good. So it could be spirits that are helping us, could be our mentors, could be other spirits that are trying to do good in general. And there are the imperfect spirits. So there are us, because we are here in this earth, in this incarnation, we are imperfect spirits. So most likely we have delayed our advancement by ignorance, desire for evil, and passions. So most likely we have done, we had mistakes in the past, and we are trying to correct them, but we are still imperfect. And those orders, they are not very defined. It's very nuanced. There is no graduation from one order to the other, but it's very, very subtle. So angels are the human souls, or souls in general, that have attained the degree of perfection. So angels are the pure, perfect spirits, according to Spiritism. So more about the pure spirits. I was thinking about the images that I could show, but they actually don't have material form. So they could show themselves in any other form. They could show themselves as an angel, as an angel with wings, because wings are definitely something that we have created to think, oh, they could fly, so they should have wings. So there is no really a reason to have wings, because they could do anything. And they no reasons to have a material body. So I think maybe the best image to show a pure spirit would be a light and the energy that comes out of it. And they have reached the highest possible level of perfection for created beings. No more trials or expiations to endure. They could be messengers and minister of God, directing the spirits beneath them, help them to perfect themselves in their missions. And they assist humans in their distress and inspire them to do good and to expiate the wrongs that keep them from supreme bliss. So it could be the saints in the Catholic Church. It could be other gods in other religions. It could be they could take many forms, but ideally, they don't really need to have a form for them to be seen by other spirits. Oh, and a lot of people think if they are perfect, they don't suffer anymore. Isn't it boring? Like what they should do. So it's something that it's actually questioned a lot, but they enjoy bliss, But bliss is not monotonous, idleness lived in perpetual contemplation. Actually, it's this eternal state of serving. And so they always have a mission, they always doing something, but it's for them it's not boring, because it's something that it's really hard for us to even think about it because it's so far away from us. But it's not boring, and they don't feel that like negative emotion. So they have absolute intellectual and moral superiority, no influence for matter at all. And humans may communicate with them. So you may communicate, you may pray for a saint, for an angel, for God. God, I mean, gods in other religions. But those who claim to have them constantly or at their orders are very presumptuous indeed. So definitely someone that says that they are always communicating, they can always get answers from a pure spirit, it's not believable. And how they show themselves to us. So the story that I heard here from some of our colleagues was in a situation that person was very Catholic, and they were able to see the spirits for the first time. Actually, was giving birth to their kid, and the spirits materialized themselves as São Judas Tadeu, Saint Judas, in the Catholic Church. That's because the person was a very Catholic and very loyal to that saint, and the spirits decided to use that shape, to use their clothes or their form to show themselves to this person, because that was how the person would better recognize and feel good about and feel the energy and accept it better. So spirits can do that. They can use other shapes and form. And that was the way it was shown to that person, and the person realized that they were clairvoyant, so they could see spirits. So it's a very beautiful story that I remembered, and that's an example of how a spirit can take forms. And how do you evolve with the spirit? So we talk about angels. So how we get a little bit closer to that, because we're very far away. So our evolution is long, a steady process that happens through learning, moral improvement, and the choices that we make every day. So we evolve through free will by serving others. So definitely charity. Charity is the number one answer, how you can evolve. Moral growth matters more than intellectual growth. So doing good, it's better than knowing all the answers. But actually knowing all the answers, like studying, like reading the books, actually helps a lot. But in generally, moral growth matters more than intellectual growth. Reincarnation gives us multiple chances. So something that if we have a mission, we don't follow through in this life, we might come back for another life following the same mission or the same expiation or trial. So I think the best thing is to accept the things that are happening to you, the challenges you have to accept. If you run away from it, most likely it's going to come back to you. Challenges help us grow. And that's really very important, to accept the challenges and think about what I'm learning through this challenge. I know it could be really hard when we go through something to see what is this teaching me? What should I learn from this? It's extremely hard, but sometimes like question that could get you closer to the answer and closer to that's the best path forward to deal with that challenge. And transformation happens on the inside. So it's not something that has to be definitely extra. How do you show to other people? It's not performative. It happens inside of you and how you make decisions every day. And just thinking about charity, I was seeing on social media, there was a challenge that a woman in the US, she was calling churches and other spiritual or religious organizations. And she was not asking for money, not asking for shelter, nothing. She was just asking for a can of baby formula for her baby because the baby was hungry and haven't eaten in a day. So she was calling multiple religious organizations just to see if they could help her. And how willing they would be to help. And when she was calling, she put a sound of a baby crying that was not true. It was just a social experiment, but she put a sound of a baby crying in the background just to make it more realistic. And then she was posting those those calls on social media, and just seeing like how many churches of all of the 40 that she called, how many would either give her like some consolation or resources where she could go, or like what would they say when you call, because it was a very urgent need. It was not something that she was asking, like money or something that could wait. It was a baby that was hungry, and there was right now like this urgent need. So out of 40 religious organizations, only 4 helped right away. And a few of them like appointed some resources, but it was very common for those organizations to say, "Oh, are you a member? Like we have a benevolence program for the members." And it was very disheartening to see that from many religious organizations. And surprisingly, some of them like right away they just asked, "What kind do you need, and when can you pick it up?" And even like an old man like got the call. He didn't have a baby formula with him, but he just wanted to know the kind that he was going to buy right away for her to pick up. And that's the thing that ideally all churches would do something like that, because it was an urgent need. It was not something, it was not money, it was not shelter. So that's something that was really interesting to see how they react to an urgent need like that. And the churches and the organizations, like for example, the 2 mosques that were called, they were able to help, and other churches, different kinds, they were able to help. But it's just that the churches that had said yes, she put it on social media, so a lot of people were putting a lot of donations towards that. So there is a cycle of charity that was also created by this challenge, that only out of 40, only 4 could actually help, and very few they didn't did any form of consolation or help. So it's really, really challenging to see the former religious organizations in general, that charity might not be the focus of them. And let's talk about demons. So we talked about the angels, the pure spirits. So what about demons? So we have seen demons in the gospel as well. There's some passages that we see the influences of demons. So for a long time, humans understood good and evil a physical point. So when humans were evolving as physical creatures, they could only have the physical sentiment of good and evil. And worship was always, for some time, was figure-based. So they were worshiping because something could be worse or something could happen. So it was a kind of a fear-based kind of worship for them. And for them, it was much easier to think about good and evil as 2 things that are completely different, and with 2 completely different causes. And they had different names for demons in their various religions and beliefs. So Christians and Muslims inherit angels and demons from the Hebrews. So that's how they could think about good and evil and angels and demons. And also the Lucifer myth. So we know it's a myth, but you might have heard of it. So it's a fallen angel, a spirit that was an angel at some point, and he was rebelled against God because of pride, jealousy, and desire for autonomy and superiority, and became the prince of demon, and became this angel, dark angel, as they could say. But according to Spiritism, that's not logical. First, because you cannot go from pure spirit to a supreme lord of dark evil. So that's not how it happens. According to Spiritism, evil comes from human imperfections, not from a supreme evil spirit. There are no angels created perfect or demons created evil. So everyone starts from ground zero, and then we evolve. Eternal punishment and eternal evil are incompatible with divine justice. So if he went to hell and if he was going to be there for eternity, it doesn't exist in that sense. It could only be something temporary. Suffering it's temporary. Evil is temporary. It could not be for eternity. God wouldn't be just and fair if it was for eternity. That makes no sense. And the spirit starts perfect and becomes evil. So what are demons? So according to Spiritism, the common sense, demons are imperfect spirits acting on evil. We are imperfect spirits as well, and they are acting on evil. They're not evil per se. They're not created evil. They're just in that moment. They could be making choices that are not ideal for them. God would not create unfortunate beings that are eternally towards evil. So we know that it would not be fair. Evil is temporary, comes from ignorance, and they could be in ignorance for a long, long time. And sometimes it shows on their pure spirits, on their kind of a physical form when they show themselves. So that's how they could also change their appearance sometimes in a bad way, because they're in that frozen in their thoughts for so long. It shows in a visual that could be frightening for us, let's say that way. So God is supremely good, just and good. They could not have created beings predisposed to evil by their very nature and condemned for eternity. And also, not all suffering spirits are evil or demons. Sometimes they could just be suffering and they could be ignorant. But I wouldn't say that all suffering spirits that are asking for help are demons. I don't like even to use the word demons. I think we are creating a stigma on them. So this lecture is about like breaking those misconceptions. So we don't really use that word. We don't say, oh, demons, in spiritism in general. It's just for the lecture. We usually say, brothers and sisters that are looking for help. That's it, because it's the proper way of referring to suffering spirits. And their appearance reflect their inner states. So it's not a fixed identity. So you see like horror movies, how they show spirits is very frightening. In reality, the clairvoyance mediums could see spirits that are in a very bad shape. And that's because they are so long in that thought that sometimes it could get aspects of bestiality or get some aspects of animals. That is very unfortunate, but it's how it happens. And it's sometimes I was thinking, even us, our inner state shows in our body how we are feeling. For example, if somebody smiles a lot, you get some wrinkles, and if somebody frowns a lot, you get some permanent wrinkles here. So you're just looking at somebody, you can see, depends on how they shape. There's some people have wrinkles here because they're very social. So the eyebrows, the way if you talk a lot, you're going to move your eyebrows a lot, and sometimes you get wrinkles. And actually, CIA agents would read people like that based on their wrinkles in their face, how their personality. So that's just to an extent how our personality, our inner state reflects our body. If you exercise a lot, you're going to externalize that in your body. If you're very positive, like your posture, how you talk, it's going to be externalized as well. So that's the same for spirits. As they evolve, they externalize their aspects, or if they are frozen stuck in thoughts and vibrations that are not ideal, they also externalize that in a way. For example, two human beings get hit by a stray bullet. That's very, very common in Brazil, unfortunately. Two people get hit by a stray bullet. So let's say one spirit accepts that fate, accepts that their life ended, and they want to follow the path. They want to find their family. They want to move on. And the other spirits get really angry about that and want revenge. They want to find the person who did it. They want to get back to them. They cannot accept their fate. So they're going to have two different paths in the spiritual life. And that might be shown in the perispirits as well. So if the soul that could not accept their fate could even show a bullet. Not necessarily, but if they're so obsessed about that, he might have showed the bullet in their body, the hole of the bullet or something like that. So that's how their thoughts could affect their perispirit shows, and how their clairvoyant mediums could see them as well. But of course, if that spirit was very angry and wanted revenge and was like many years thinking about that moment and reliving that moment and their anger, if they accepted that that was supposed to happen, that was what he signed up for in the first place, he could evolve, he could accept that and change the feelings of anger and revenge for love, compassion, and all the positive feelings. And eventually the pure spirits would heal and be okay and would not show the bullet hole again. So just an example that how their thinking could affect their pure spirits. And how we can be closer to angels if we want to, as we are so far away, like the levels of evolution from perfect spirits. So angels are high spirits that inspire us to clarity, kindness, good decisions in general. And demons are lower spirits that we don't really call demons, but the definition would be lower spirits that influence us when we are disconnected from our better sides. So as we're thinking things that are not ideal for us, is not always influence of another soul, but it could be as well. If you're living those, if you're not really conscious about your thoughts, you could be influenced by other spirits. They could be implanting some thoughts that would not originate from you. And that's not always the case, but it could happen. So how we get closer to pure spirits and good spirits in general. So it's all about vibrations. So we have to raise our vibration, to raise our way of thinking. It's all about thoughts that you have to be very mindful of how you think about anything in your day, think about other people. Watch your intentions, everything that you do. When you have good and honest intentions, it's really best for you. Kindness and fairness, always with charity. Serve others as much as possible. So this is really helpful. Keep your emotions in order. So this takes time as well, like with therapy and considering knowing yourself. The more you know yourself, I think it's easier to control your emotions and rationalize emotional outcomes. Choose your environments well. So we know sometimes even unconsciously or consciously what environments are best for us. So there's a lot of environments that we know it's not helpful for us, but sometimes we still go there, and it's part of our control. So yeah, when you choose your environments well, it really helps you because you're not as tempted as you would be. Pray and meditate regularly. Other religions as well, for example, Buddhism has a really good pathways for meditations and teachings. So, for example, they teach that as you meditate, your consciousness expands, and the problems of your everyday life could seem smaller. So instead of like trying to reduce your problem and avoid the problem and negating the problem, it's about like increasing our consciousness, and that's almost like caring less about the problem. Of course, you have to deal with the problem, but it's how you could improve yourself so then the problem, it could be less problematic. And take responsibilities for your choices. So one of the worst things that you can do is refusing to accept what happened to you, and not accepting, specifically when it's your fault in the first place. So this is really causes consequences, and that lowers your vibration. So if you do all of that, it's going to help you to get closer to the vibrations of the good spirits. And it's really hard because every day we get a curveball thrown at us. So something happens, your tire, you have a problem with the car, and it's something that you're not expecting that happens to you. And it's really hard for us to fall and go back to our old cycles of anger and maybe revenge, so some other sentiments that are not very positive. But that's the goal every day, like to train yourself to avoid those negative sentiments and try to be as positive as possible. And that's it for today. Any questions about, or if you want to share anything about positive, about angels and demons?
About that, they don't regress, right? But on the other hand, we have those influence, and we always see that kind of people that is the nice person, very good, but when triggered for something, getting that rage. And can people say, "Oh, you are the next one. I look like a monster." Right? Is that a form? How that influence on this? Like, they can regress in that case, or it's just like
Yeah. So the level of evolution. So it means that the person's at the level, and that situation that they explode and they become very angry, it's just most likely it's going to mean that this person is going to be stationary for a while until they mend the things, like the people that they offended, or like they mend the situation, and from that they're gonna
that way?
yeah, exactly. And even if the things very horrible that people do to each other, they means that they're going to be stationary for a really long time, because there's going to be a lot of work to mend those relationships and to correct that situation. But that's, they will not regress. They would just be, it could be centuries in that same level, but they will not regress.
Why do some spirits seem scary?
Why they look scary?
Yes, I think there's depend moment, but sometimes spirits show scary, right?
Like if you see a spirit, if they are showing themselves as a scary in a scary shape. Yeah. So it's that situation. So they are imperfect spirits. Maybe they were frozen in their own thoughts and stuck in situations, and they are kind of ruminating the negative emotions. So if you ruminate anger for a long time, imagine what it does to your emotions, and that externalizes. So that's how they could look very scary, because they are ruminating negative emotions, or they are doing bad things, so they show themselves in that way. But if they get help, or if they decided to repent, or if they pray, they could slowly get rid of that shape, and get a more like human, natural form.
Just to add a little bit, there's actually two reasons why sometimes they show up in a negative way, right, in a scary way. So you're gonna have spirits that's how they perceive them, exactly what you said. That's how I perceive myself, I create it, and then I create the image on my pure spirit. And I do believe that's who I am. You see the spirits like that, and even can like a very animalistic, like very, because that's how they do. And you see this in Andrea Ruiz books, when you see even a spirit of a woman who transforms into a wolf, because that was told, like you're a bad person, like in a wolf, like an animal, and she perceives that, and then she creates that image. They're actually not a wolf, that's just an creation of words. That's exactly what Isabella said. But I can to have this ability to change my pure spirit is something that could be learned. So let's say if I want to scare Isabella, and I know she's scary of scarecrows, I can transform myself in scarecrow on purpose. It's not that the way that I show up in the spirit. I can, and then for the other one, I know they're scared of, I don't know, spiders. I can go there and I show myself as a big giant spider, right? So that's how I do, because I can manipulate these. A lot of low spirits, they can also manipulate. It's not just the higher spirits that can manipulate the way they look. Lower spirits can do that as well. It's just a technique. Mm-hmm. And they can manipulate and show themselves in a different way as they need, right? And it's the same way that, for example, if I discarnated, and when I discarnate, and I'm a good spirit, like I'm not a super evolved spirit, but I choose what's the image that I want to have when. So I prefer, like, say, discarnate when I'm 85 years old, but I want to look like my 35-year-old trees, and that's how I'm using. And but if I'm gonna try to appear to my 10-year-old granddaughter, If I show up as the 35-year-old Teresa, who's this lady? So what I do, I change and I show myself as the 85-year-old grandma that the child will be related to. So the same way that the high spirits can change that, right? The low spirits also can change and show them in a very scary way, because I know that's what's gonna affect you, right? But that's not how I look like when I'm there, cruising around the spiritual world, that's not how I look like. But to you, that's how I'm gonna look like. And to Isabella, I'm gonna look in a different way because I know what's scary to each one, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So spirits, they can show themselves depending on their level, the way they want, using the different clothes or like the archetype that they want. But also, for example, for when spirits appear to you, they are souls. They could be imperfect. They could be lying. They could be trying to manipulate you. And even what they say could not be true. So I know a medium that she was always been clairvoyant. So she sees the spirits, like she hears spirits. And then when she was a kid, like she would see in her bedroom, she was to sleep with her sister. So she used to see spirits, and the spirits would say, your sister's gonna die. Your sister's gonna die soon. He was lying. Like it was never the case. But I mean, just because you're seeing the spirits or the spirits showing up that way, it's not true, because they are imperfect. They could be manipulating you, and that's what happens. And a lot of people, when they see spirits, I know it's not very common, but they tend to believe right away. So it's not the case. Spirits are just souls that don't have a body, so just like us, but without a body. So it's not the truth, the source of truth. And the same as if you go to a psychic and they might have a spirit talking to the psychic. Is that true? We don't know. It could be, could be not. So we don't trust the spirits right away. There is a process to even communications that we get here in the mediumistic meeting, that we really think about the message to see, can we trust the source? Can we trust this? We don't believe it right away just because it's a spirit.
That's why Kardec says right in the medium's book that even when you get like psychographic message or any message, sometimes it's signed by this superior spirit that everybody knows. It says, don't care for the signature, don't care for how they look like, care for the message. Always analyze the message, even if the signature or the image of the company, but there was Emmanuel, so was Emmanuel, or all of us, or it looked like Allan Kardec, and that's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter who signs. What's the content of the message? And in fact, we had here on TSS someone who called us, because it was from far away here in Ontario. So I asked if he could talk to us over the phone. And there's some history about how she had this illness and got cured, and then she went to a psychic, and then she found out that after she had the cure, that she got this mediumistic cure power, and she went to a psychic here in Toronto who told her, oh, the spirit that's beside you, it's you should go to spiritist group, because the spirit that's your mentor is Allan Kardec. Have you heard about Allan Kardec? And she goes, no, so yeah, I should go to spiritist group. And then as she's talking to us, it made very clear that she's selling this mediumistic power that she claims to have it, of the cure, right? I said, oh, every time I pray over someone, this person gets better and everything. I'm not discussing if it's right or not, but clearly, Allan Kardec will never be the mentor of someone who's selling mediumistic power. Let's put it this name. I like this name, power for mediumship, right? But right, so see, because he's the guy who actually brought the knowledge, right? First, that you should not sell anything that's related to your mediumistic conditions, right? And also, but that's someone told her that that's what it is, and that she believes that that's her mentor, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we don't trust or believe right away anything that we get from spirits, because there are many levels of evolution, and we just have to be very careful with what the communications, the content of the message, or anything that we see as well. I've seen stories as well, the spirits showing themselves as an incarnated person just to manipulate. So it created a very scary situation as well. So
Yeah, something that always gets me very exciting to understand more. Um, it's how humanity and society evolves, right? And this concept of demons and saints or angels are, are very interesting, very appealing to my dig into. Um, and what I read, what I study, and is that first of all, the pictures that we put behind each one of those, they didn't start now, right? They started thousands of years ago. And the religions they evolve as well, right? So think about the Celtics, thousands of years ago, right? Everything was very close to nature. While you do have the other side that is like thinking close to Olympus, right? In the Greece, where Olympus is a mount, so it's like if you're going up, the other one is going down, right? So all those concepts are very intriguing to me. And with the Renaissance, when the artists start putting these paid by the church, was very easy to think about put an angel with wings because they're gonna fly up to sky, and put darkness or something with horns, for example, that brings the concept of Celtics to the demons. So all those visual effects that we received and we understand today as a society 2,000 years after Christ, a lot of are embedded on how the artists puts together their paints. So think about like some artists, they use angels as babies. The purest spirit ever on their mind, right? With wings. Others use more like a very tall, resemblant, white, with wings, with a spear gun, right? So as a different type of angels. And with all this evolution, this creates a lot of effects on the society across the history. Right? And I think a little bit of those visual images that we learn how to fear across our multiple incarnations are also reflect on the fact that the visuals that they use to scare or motivate us, right? So it's think about all the paintings that we received across the last 10 years, 1,000 years, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's so true, because that's what the image that we have of the negative, so that's how they're gonna show. It's just because we train to think like that through many years. And in the end, it's good that you brought the question of the term like demons really in actually in spiritism. Even though if you take old translations of the Kardec's books, they still use the word evil spirits, but even now the newer translations they remove the two wrongdoers, right? Still in the end, that's what it is. If you really look, the hate, the anger, it's just a sick love. It's usually someone who loved or trust a lot of someone, and they got betrayed in some ways, and they cannot forgive, and then it becomes the anger, So in the end, it's just someone who's sick, and they're just the wrongdoers. People who still don't understand what's the right path, right? But in the end, it's just terms like demons, evil.
Yeah.
We don't like to use it because for now, with the knowledge like you brought it, we understand that they're not evil. They're not, because then I like when you brought it, when you say that's it's the
Evil is temporary.
it's also but the term that we used before, it's very like we create already something that's, if you keep using those terms, we already creating that, we keep that knowledge, that concept that yes, this is forever, and it's not. When it's just someone who's ignorant,
Yeah,
who's wrong, that's eventually they're gonna learn and then they're gonna move. Right?
exactly.
So it's nice that you brought it. It's the same thing for angels. The only pure spirit that we have on earth so far is only Christ, right? All the other spirits are mentors, they're superior spirits, they're actually imperfect spirits. Who also, like Emmanuel is imperfect, Chico Xavier is imperfect. If you go to the mentor of Emmanuel, is still imperfect, so none of them, but they're way superior than we are, right? So those are the spirits that now, even though they're imperfect, but now they only do good. They don't, now they're just paying. Because right now we pay debts and we add debts. We pay some debts, we add debts. We pay, that's how we are, right? They know they're just paying. They're just paying. They're not adding anything else. Right? What's the difference? And people sometimes ask in spiritism, oh, should I call them my mentors? Should I call them whatever you want? Your best friend, your mentor, your guardian angel. It's okay if you use the word. Yeah, it's okay to use the word guardian angel. My superior spirit, my guide, my spiritual guide. But they really don't care which name. Some people they give names to them, like, oh, I'm gonna call mine Joe. I'm gonna call mine Mary. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
You call them angels or not. So same thing with the demons, but it's nice on the demons that we need to start to help with the word, because it's the stigma, right, that we have.
Exactly.
The word, right?
Something I wanted to mention too is some religions, they have a very stigmatized concept of demons, and they think about like expelling the demon. So like, let's get this demon like throw like very far away and like
to heaven.
Yes.
To hell, sorry. Send them to
yeah,
hell.
send them to hell. Like, so let's protect this person here, so the demon could never get back. So it's not how we think about them. They're just suffering spirits that are temporary in making bad decisions and thoughts that are not very helpful for them. We really need to help them. So I really hate when I see those concepts of like expel the demon, or like exorcism. So we really need to help those spirits. So that's the teachings of Spiritism.
And actually, in this case, both things are not correct, right? One, that this is a demon that have to be expelled and sent to hell. But this thing as a victim also is not a
Exactly,
victim.
yeah.
Because the spirit cannot make you to do anything, cannot connect you with you unless you open the door. So unless we already don't have the thoughts inside of us, so when they instigate us to do something, it's because we already have the inside of us. When it's just someone to go there, that clicks like, then I'll go and I do it.
Yeah, I resonate that with that a lot, because through my learnings, since I'm a ostensive medium, so since I was a child, I was feeling the energy. I'm not clairvoyant, I don't see it, but I feel the energies. And I always, in the beginning, I had this mindset of a victim. Oh my God, I'm attracting those spirits, and like I'm suffering. Why I'm this way? So why everything happens? And now I had this mindset of a victim, like a sponge medium, like we're taking the energies of the places and so then I learned about that it always comes from my vibration, and I could be attracting those spirits, and I was not controlling my mediumship. I was not controlling my energy level. So that's why I was attracting so many spirits that would be. And sometimes they wouldn't even want to harm me. They were just connected to me. And there was maybe no evil in that intention of the spirits, but they are just like in the same vibration as me. So they were with me. So it took me a long time to be able to control and to just know if I'm by myself or if I'm not by myself, if I have some company. But that's the idea. For a long time, I would think that I was a victim, that I was attracting evil spirits, that they just wanted to attack me for no reason. And so it took a lot of learning, but it was definitely very helpful to understand them. So now I'm able to help them a little bit more.
That's why in the spirits book they say, right? It's you who attract them. It's not that they come after you. It's us who, the way we vibrate, our own thoughts, we attract them. Because most of the time, it's not spirits that have something personal against us. It's around us and instigating us to do the bad, right? It's just a normal spirits around us who just say, oh, just get rid of them and go there and connect, right? That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how most of them are.
Yeah, there are cases of a person obsession, and the person comes to the spiritism center and they talk to the spirits that's the obsessor, let's say in that case, and the spirit says, so ask him to leave my vibration, because this person has so many options, they could do so many things, but I'm here, like I don't have a body, so you have to ask him to to stay away from
They're the ones who call me, but
Pretty
they're
much,
the ones
yeah.
who want to be connected.
Exactly,
with that.
yeah.
That's true. How many of them don't say that? But they're the ones who wants to be connected with me.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, so that's something that we want to break, the stigma of a victim and the stigma of the demon as well.
Going to the other way, I think it's like when we say angels, it's so incredible to me how we believe that we are more than what we really are. Right? So kids, for example, we just understand the kids as the pierced person on earth. And they are, because I'm human, I can say that. But it's like, it's the same picture of Raphael putting wings in babies, right? On babies. But and this is not, I think this is very standard, or I can say that there are a lot of people that think that way, that people on earth, or many times ourselves, we understand ourselves as something very close to God, right? Or very close to what we call pure spirit. And as you said, we are not, right? We are very, very, very far. And the main reason is because our intellect or our rational and emotions, we cannot even understand what is a pure spirit, what a pure spirit is. So when you think about Jesus, as Teresa said, it's the pure spirit that put all these together and live on earth. It's we don't even understand the concept of pure spirit, right?
Yeah.
So some religions they think about Jesus as a human and with all the human conditions. And this is true. He passed through Earth. I'm 100% sure that he had pain. He had he starved. He had thirsty. He had all the human conditions right behind him, of course. But in spirit, the pureness of that, it's something that we on Earth today we don't understand. And because we don't understand, we tend to understand that our level is higher than what it is. So when we say that person is an angel, it's so off, because it's like we don't even understand that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. We're closer to demons than angels.
Yeah. I think it's right what you're saying in terms of understanding, but there is no demons and there is no angels,
but in the sense that in the past we could have very, just like we're saying, like the scary visuals, because we don't know exactly what we have been in the past, but we could have been very fortunate spirits, we could have had those visuals that are very scary. We don't know. So it's definitely there's not like demons are other creatures. We could have been something that could have been called a demon by someone else.
Yeah, and I think this speech helps us to understand. It talks about the level of the spirits, right? And I think we are very, very fortunate for Kardec to explain that, right? Because it's not common in different religions to mention, number one, that there is a level of pureness. And the second is that bring us to reality that we are very, very far ahead but there are a lot of everybody passed through the outer stage, basically,
Including Jesus.
including Jesus, of course.
Perfect.
Just a very quick add-on. There is the book Heaven and Hell that goes through a lot of what you said today. And if someone is interested, it is a very, very nice reading because they have a lot of spirit's messages that explain their process and how they went through all of that. And a little bit of how we as a society got to the point of understanding as heaven and hell and
Perfect. Just one last
Just-
question.
Just repeat to get on the mic.
No, right, usually it's.
it gets
It gets on the mic. It's actually good that you brought it. I was reading this. It's of the 5 books, is the book that nobody talks about.
Yeah, actually,
But
I
it's fantastic book and it's easy to read actually.
it is very
It's easy to because when you go to Genesis, it's a little bit more heavy, but Heaven and Hell is like an easy book to read and it's amazing.
yeah, actually was the source of there were 2 chapters in Heaven and Hell. One's demons, the other one's is angels. So that was the source. Question that you
So can you like reframe it in the sense that I think sometimes often you're talking about you see it, the concept of demons is like something to expel and exorcism basically. But then what I'm hearing today is that maybe they're like one, if we're experiencing this, there's something that's compelling it towards us, and 2, it's not absolute evil. So like perhaps could it be something as an invitation for like you and yourself to also kind of continue on that journey of purity, that exchange, and then also to help someone else? Can you reframe it in that sense as opposed to like I'm engaging in something that's perceived as the use the word evil in terms of like that common terminology, but it's in terms of can you look at it instead of something to run away from, but something to help both yourself and it as you kind of improve?
Yeah, so as you raise the vibrations, it's going to be harder for some spirits to get to you. So definitely, as I put in the slides, like to how to get closer to good spirits that's the same way how you avoid those spirits and helping them. It's amazing. It's a really good thinking, but it's just that sometimes like you need help from other spirits. So usually when you want to help a suffering spirit, you don't really talk to them directly. You actually pray so they can get helped, because sometimes like we don't have the strength to help them by ourselves. So I recommend like if somebody is like feeling that has a suffering spirit with them, like to get support, because sometimes it's not something that you can help the spirits directly. So with support, with spiritism, we can help, but it's really hard for you by yourself to help that spirit, especially because we incarnated.
And we are vibrating this similar vibration, right?
But you're right, yeah, you can help them, but help indirectly. We can never help them directly. And I'm gonna give a quick example because I don't have time, but I used to work in a place where the environment was the worst possible. Okay, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs. Okay, it was a club. And I used to come there and I knew as a spiritist, I knew exactly what kind of environment was working on. So what I used to do is before I would get there, I would do a prayer like, oh God, just protect me, I'm here and everything. But then when I started doing this prayer, I started to feel that I would go home and I get home and I was like, did it say shadow passing by? And I'm not a medium, just so you know, okay? I don't see anything, but I know the person I would see shadows. And I would feel the negative and I was like, what's going on? And then I spoke with someone on the old spiritist, on the spiritist group that are going to Brazil, and they said, well, what's happening is when you pray, there's a lot of suffering spirits there. When you pray, they see the light and then they follow you. Not because they want to follow you to do anything wrong, but it's like water, the glass of water that they see in the desert, and then I'm gonna follow that glass of water. So then what I start to do is I start to do my prayer in a different way. It's to just like, please protect me from this energy. And if there's anybody here who wants to get out of this, please just follow the spirits of light that are here. I never had this problem again. Right? So that's it is a way. So we should actually help them, right? So by just not being angry at them because they're trying to disturb me, instead we just do a prayer. And don't try even to connect with them. Oh, if you're here, you do it, please. No, just say, good spirits, if there's someone here who needs help, please just help them.
Yeah.
As much as I need your help and your protection.
Because the more if you pray to them directly, if you talk to them, your connection might
Then you
increase.
connection even more. Yeah.
So it's really like pray for the good spirits, for your guides
If
to
there's
help
anybody
you.
here who needs help, please help them. That's what it is. And then you completely change, you protect yourself, because the one you create this protection, they cannot penetrate. And at the same time, they will get help if needed. Two things, they can just accept the help from the good spirits and be helped. They can say, no, I'm not interested, but at least they cannot penetrate you and they'll go away. That's what the spirits book say. Eventually, if you don't keep the door open, you're gonna knock on another door, because this door here is not working. Okay.
All right, thank you, Isabella, for a great lecture. We want to thank all of you over the internet that were with us here today, and hoping to see you here next week.